Good morning, viewers. Today we bring you coverage of what astronomers are calling the observing opportunity of a lifetime. The interstellar comet 3I Atlas reached its closest point to our sun yesterday and is continuing its extraordinary journey through our solar system. On October 29th, 2025, just 2 days before Halloween, 3I Atlas reached its closest point to the sun, known as Perihelion. The comet passed within just 126 million miles, or 203 million kilometers of our star. That's just inside the orbit of Mars. However, observing this critical moment from Earth was impossible. That's because 3I Atlas is currently positioned directly behind the sun from our perspective. Astronomers call this a solar conjunction. Since October 21st, the comet has been moving across the sky with the sun during daylight hours, making observation with ground-based telescopes impossible. So did anyone capture this unique event? Absolutely. Scientists were prepared for this scenario. Spacecraft en route to Mars and Jupiter are recording these critical moments that are invisible from Earth. Last week, between October 1 and 7, the European Space Agency's two Mars orbiters, Mars Express and the ExoMars Trace Gas Orbiter, imaged the comet. On October 3rd, the comet passed its closest point to Mars, approximately 18.6 million miles or 30 million kilometers away. ExoMars's CASIS camera managed to detect the comet as a slightly fuzzy white dot. This observation was extremely challenging because the camera was designed to image Mars's bright surface, and the comet was between 10,000 and 100,000 times fainter than its usual targets. Today and in the coming days, we're expecting some very exciting developments. On November 3rd, the comet will approach Venus to within 60 million miles, or 97 million kilometers. On November 4th, ESA's Jupiter Icy Moons Explorer, or JUICE spacecraft, will observe 3I Atlas from about 40 million miles, or 64 million kilometers, away. This is extremely important because JUICE will see the comet just after its closest approach to the sun, when it's at its most active state. The spacecraft will use cameras, spectrometers, and particle sensors for observation. However, there's a slight disappointment here. JUICE is currently so close to the sun that it must use its main antenna as a heat shield. As a result, it's sending data at a much slower rate. Scientists don't expect to receive these observations until February 2026. November 11th is the important date for amateur observers. According to Sky and Telescope, 3I Atlas will become visible again in the morning sky starting that date. But remember, you'll need a telescope with at least an 8-inch or 20-centimeter aperture to see it. The comet will never be bright enough to see with the naked eye. The scientific findings about 3I Atlas obtained so far are truly fascinating. Recent research suggests this comet could be between 3 and 11 billion years old. The most likely estimate is around 7 billion years. This means it could be older than our own solar system. Our solar system is approximately 4.6 billion years old. If these estimates are correct, 3I Atlas could be a relic from our Milky Way galaxy's cosmic noon, the period when star formation was at its peak. The James Webb Space Telescope and other observations have revealed the comet has an unusual chemical structure. Its most striking feature is an extremely high carbon dioxide to water ratio, 8:1. This is one of the highest ratios ever recorded. Substances detected from the comet include carbon dioxide at 284 pounds or 129 kilograms per second, water vapor at 14.6 pounds or 6.6 kilograms per second, carbon monoxide at 30.9 pounds or 14 kilograms per second, carbonyl sulfide, hydrogen cyanide, and the most intriguing finding, atomic nickel vapor. Scientists speaking to NPR say the nickel vapor detection is particularly interesting. That's because this nickel vapor was detected at a distance about 4 times farther from the sun than Earth, in a region too cold for metals to normally vaporize. As it approached the sun, nickel levels continued to increase. Days of observations using the Very Large Telescope in Chile confirmed this unusual finding. Scientists say these high nickel concentrations provide clues about the chemistry of the molecular cloud in the distant star system where the comet formed. As with every major cosmic event, 3I Atlas has sparked some controversy. Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb published papers suggesting the comet could potentially be an artificial object, even alien technology. In his paper titled, "Does 3I Atlas Generate Its Own Light?" and in statements on Joe Rogan's podcast, Loeb drew attention to the object's unusual trajectory and high nickel content. Making a Trojan horse analogy, he suggested that while it appears to be a natural comet from the outside, it could carry a potential threat within. However, the overwhelming majority of the scientific community views this skeptically. Professor Daryl Seligman from Michigan State University stated, "There have been numerous telescopic observations of 3I Atlas demonstrating that it's displaying classical signatures of cometary activity. NASA and ESA have officially confirmed this is a comet." Loeb himself later acknowledged in a blog post that the simplest hypothesis is that 3I Atlas is a comet, though he emphasized the importance of questioning assumptions. Is there any danger? Absolutely not. NASA and ESA have clearly stated that 3I Atlas poses no threat to Earth. The comet's closest approach to Earth will occur on December 19, 2025, and even then it will be 168 million miles, or 270 million kilometers, away. That's about 1.8 times the distance between Earth and the Sun. The comet's trajectory is coincidentally closely aligned with our solar system's planetary orbital planes, the ecliptic. With a 175-degree inclination, it's moving in a retrograde orbit. It will approach Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, but will never come close to Earth. Scientists are eagerly anticipating several important observations in the coming months. In November 2025, the Hubble Space Telescope will perform ultraviolet spectroscopy on the comet to determine the composition of its gas emissions and sulfur-to-oxygen ratio. Solar observation satellites like Parker Solar Probe and SOHO continue their monitoring. In December 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope will observe the comet again after perihelion. Ground-based telescopes will also be able to re-observe the object starting in early December. Its closest approach to Earth will occur on December 19th. In March 2026, 3I Atlas will approach Jupiter to within about 33 million miles, or 54 million kilometers. NASA's Juno spacecraft is planned to observe this, though it's uncertain due to the spacecraft's fuel situation and engine issues. The Europa Clipper mission may also conduct observations. I-Atlas is the third known interstellar object. Before this, in 2017, 1I Oumuamua was the first detected interstellar visitor. It sparked controversy because it didn't show comet-like activity. In 2019, 2I Borisov was the second interstellar object, clearly showing comet characteristics. Unlike Oumuamua, 3I Atlas is clearly an active comet. It's a living object releasing gas and dust, forming a coma and tail. This characteristic makes it much more suitable for study. Research, including contributions from University of Michigan doctoral student Astor Taylor, shows that 3I Atlas has likely never approached another star before, based on carbon dioxide's direct transition from solid to gas. This means the object has been drifting through intergalactic space for billions of years. Professor Seligman explains, when it gets closest to the Sun, you get the most holistic view of the nucleus possible. One of the main things driving most cometary scientists is, what is the composition of the volatiles? Each observation reveals what this interstellar wanderer can teach us about the formation and evolution of other star systems. Studying the chemistry of an object formed from a different molecular cloud under different conditions allows us to make direct comparisons with our own solar system. The discovery of 3I Atlas is a beautiful example of modern science communication. When the object was discovered by the Atlas telescope, that's the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, in Rio Hurtado, Chile on July 1, 2025, it was given the temporary designation A11PL3Z. Within just a few days, 122 observations were collected from 31 different observatories worldwide, confirming the object's interstellar origin. The object, which generated huge interest on social media, demonstrated how important the collaboration between scientists and amateur observers is. Amateur astronomers around the world are following this historic event with their telescopes. A regrettable note, due to the U.S. government shutdown, some data obtained by NASA since October 1st couldn't be processed and shared with the public. Avi Loeb criticized this situation, calling it terrestrial stupidity, not extraterrestrial intelligence. Observations from Mars reconnaissance orbiter also haven't been released yet due to this shutdown. The next few months offer our last opportunity to study 3I Atlas. The comet will gradually begin leaving our solar system in mid-December and will never return. Billions of years from now, perhaps it will be discovered by another civilization in another star system. This cosmic visitor reminds us how vast and mysterious the universe is, and yet how interconnected. Billions of years ago, the 3I Atlas we're observing now was born in a distant star system. That star may have long since died, and if it had planets, they too may be gone. But this small piece of ice and rock continues to drift in the cosmic ocean like a message from that ancient world. Scientists are working day and night to make the best use of this rare opportunity. They know this data can help us understand not just 3I Atlas, but planetary formation in our galaxy, the evolution of star systems, and perhaps even the distribution of life in the universe. Dear viewers, 3I Atlas's adventure continues. Starting November 11th, it will begin appearing again in the morning sky. If you have friends with telescopes, ask them to look toward the Virgo constellation. That small fuzzy dot they'll see will be a time capsule from the far side of our galaxy, experiencing the final stages of a journey billions of years in the making. We've reached the end of this news bulletin. We'll continue to follow this unique spectacle the universe has offered us together. We'll keep you updated with breaking developments. Don't forget to follow us. Have a great day.